Hi everyone and welcome to the final video of the running technique series. So today we're going to talk about cadence, which is a very fashionable topic amongst runners at the moment. And basically it is how many strides you take in a minute. And you can measure this by simply counting those strides or by counting for 30 seconds and then doubling it. So that number will give you your cadence, and what your cadence is does indicate how efficient your running technique is. Now, as a general rule of thumb, the optimal cadence is around 180 strides per minute. However, that must be taken with a pinch of salt. So this is based around elite athletes who will do around 180 to 200 strides per minute. However, of course, we have to consider our own individual biomechanical differences and the fact that we're not all elite athletes. So much like in the previous video where I talked about foot strike and how this differs between person to person, and each individual has an optimal foot strike, it's the same with cadence as well. However, of course, if you are significantly below this 180 threshold, then it might indicate that your running technique is fairly inefficient. So say for example you run at 140 cadence, then it's a good indicator that you might need to improve this. So why is it inefficient? So basically this refers back to a previous video that I said about overstriding. So just to recap, we don't want to overstride because overstriding basically entails landing in front of our centre of mass. Obviously this is an exaggeration. However, obviously you get the idea. So our centre of mass is located around our abdomen, and then if we land in front of this point, then as Newton's third law of equal and opposite reactions dictates, we're going to basically be applying a braking force, and we're going to be sending ourselves backwards slightly, which is of course the opposite to where we want to go, because we want to move forward. So we want to have a nice short stride at the front. So the rationale of increasing the cadence and increasing the number of strides that you take per minute is that you're going to shorten your stride at the front rather than it being long and slow and then overstriding, and therefore increase the efficiency of your running technique. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a few drills that you can use in your day-to-day practice in order to try and increase your cadence if that's what you need to do. So the first one is referring back to a video that I did before. So this is all about, again, landing under the centre of mass, because if we can teach ourselves to land under the centre of mass, then we're going to be able to increase our cadence more. So this is the sweep through drill that I covered. So we're going to be walking through and we're going to be sweeping through and landing under our centre of mass, as you can see just here. Okay, so that's quite a basic one for you to revisit. The second one is the heel flick. So the heel flicks, again, are something that I've covered in a different video, so you can go back and cover that if you wish to. Now, there is a good way and a bad way of doing heel flicks. I don't particularly like it when people sort of do it like this, because it's not very specific to the running technique. So if your heels are just coming back like this, then there's no hip flexion there, and of course we don't run along like that, so it's not very specific. So what we want to do instead, instead of doing this, we want to combine it with this high knee technique, whereby we're combining the two, and the heel's still coming up towards the bum, but you can see how I'm flexing the hip, which is specific to that triple flexion movement. So again, we can do this, and you can see where I'm landing, which is of course under my centre of mass. Okay, so that's the second one for you to do. The next one is what we call falling strides. So this again I covered in a previous video where I was talking about being able to save energy by running faster by simply leaning forward through the ankle and not the waist like so. So again, if you're not sure about that, go back and have a look at that video. But basically the idea is, and I covered this sort of basic drill, whereby you're just going to familiarise yourself with leaning forward through the ankle to the point where you're going to feel like you're going to fall forwards and you need to put your foot down in order to catch yourself. So as we feel like we're going to put our foot down, we should be landing under our centre of mass, because that's where our natural tendency will be to land, to catch ourselves. And then we can turn it into a run. So what we're going to do, we're going to lean forward, catch ourselves, and then run off. Okay, I'll just do a few of them so you can see. So we're going to lean forward, catch ourselves, and run. Do one more. So hopefully you get the idea with that one as well. The final drill that we can do is we can download an app on our phone. So it's a metronome app. So set the app for a frequency of 180 strides per minute, and as you're running along you can try and keep to that cadence. So then as we don't have to do it as a run straight away, we can simply do it more like this movement. And then of course we can move into a run. Okay, so the final point that I just wanted to make quickly is the fact that we do have to take cadence with a pinch of salt. So we don't want to increase our cadence so much that we're just going to be taking tiny little baby steps, alright? What I talked about before in a previous video about the triple extension still applies. So we still want a long stride at the back, but increasing our cadence will just simply shorten our stride at the front so that we're not overstriding. It's raining now, so I'm just going to finish here. So thank you for watching. Remember to put your comments below after trying out these drills. Thank you and see you again soon.